The provision of energy should not only be the task of Eskom, but we should allow the private sector to play its role in the provision of energy in a number of ways. The private-public sector participation, the IPPs, as I've said, is one of those. The issue of cogeneration is another matter, but we've also seen how the private sector can play a role and be able to feed into the grid. And part of our package also looks at the possibility of converting that loan into equity should the need arise. But it is something that we are going to be monitoring quite closely.
Could you explain what that means? Is that an equity by government or equity by an outside investor?
Look, it's a loan that is already granted to Eskom. So it doesn't have much of a difference because it's granted, it's already given to Eskom. It's a matter of just converting it from being a loan to equity. But it will depend on how we're doing on the other parts of the package, whether we should extend.
What's the significance of the equity rather than a loan?
Is that Eskom doesn't have to pay back. That's how simple it is. Why are you complicating it? Yeah. If it's not a loan, it means that they don't have to pay back. But that is why we're talking about the partial, because we're not talking about the full amount. It will depend on how we are doing on the other elements of the that we are advancing. So the first thing that we say is that Eskom will be able to borrow up to 250 billion rands on the back of our guarantees on the back of their balance sheet. So what we are doing is the measures that we are announcing here are the short-term measures that seek to address the issue of Eskom's financial health now, so that they are in a position to be able to borrow or to borrow on the back of their balance sheet. So the shortfall you are talking about is a longer-term shortfall, but the package we are talking about is meant just to put Eskom on a proper and sound financial position so that they are able to fend for themselves.
There are a couple of things that need to be factored into the equation. One of them being the efficiency enhancement drive within Eskom, we should also generate and believe the number of resources that will actually cover the shortfall that you're talking about. In addition to that, you must remember that government said they will support Eskom's proposal, tariff proposals. That will also be factored in, and that probably completes the picture. I think on the issue about private sector participation, we already, as a country, have a policy of encouraging private sector participation in infrastructure and in energy. It's already there. The IPP program, which is probably the most successful program of participation of the private sector in delivering energy, it's very successful. I mean, it has been pretty much successful, demonstrating, of course, that private sector participation in infrastructure delivery, in service delivery, is a critical area that we must continue to sophisticate and grow. I think the danger is that we're locked into an old debate about privatization and non-privatization. The issue ultimately is going to boil down to one question: how do we improve the efficiency of service delivery? How do we ensure that there's consistency in service delivery and in energy security? And that's the challenge that we must face as a country. And how do we ensure that we manage cost of energy generation, etc.? So that's probably where the focus should be. The mechanism of how we deliver that, it's something that everywhere in the world people are grappling with. And as a country, we're already midstream in being creative around how to approach the questions.
We sat down with Eskom and putting together a package. The Deputy Minister was talking about the efficiencies that we are talking about. That is because we are going to monitor the plan that they put before us in order for Eskom to work with them. We have an interministerial committee of the 3 ministers and departments, which are finance, energy, and public enterprises. That whilst we are looking at, and the Commissioner mentioned this, whilst we are looking at the financial health of Eskom, we also want a particular focus on its governance. We also want a focus on seeing that it continues to discharge its responsibility of providing energy and electricity to South Africans And it is for that reason that we go beyond just providing this package to deal or to restore its financial health, but also to look at how Eskom performs going forward, making sure that the delays that we have experienced in the completion of Medupi is also expedited, and we are now given the assurance that has been addressed, but also the issue of the efficiencies in the manner in which they produce energy, and also allow the private sector to come in and move towards a cost reflective and to move towards cost reflective